All right. I want to talk about limitations. And what I want to talk about limitations about is that there are none. Now, there are obvious physical limitations in what you can do, for example, like levitating and stuff like that. But that's for a different lifetime, a different existence. We're here physically to experience physical reality and to understand the human condition so we can expand our consciousness after we pass on and help our entity grow and all that is grow in the great expansion of consciousness. That's what it's all about. So when it comes to limitations, there's nothing stopping you from doing what you want and achieving the goals that you want. The only thing that's standing in your way of doing that is yourself and believing all the bullshit that you've been told throughout your life where they've told you that you can't achieve certain things. You can always improve your intelligence. You can always improve your physical prowess. You can always improve your creativity. You can always improve your financial skills. There's nothing stopping you from growing, ever. And the way to grow is to really assess what your environment is. Are you hanging around with people who are actually actively trying to achieve the best in their life? Or are you hanging out with people who are complacent, working minimum wage jobs, just getting by and not really taking their life seriously? Are you working in an environment around people that you want to be like? Are you living with people who inspire you? Are you in creative groups of people that inspire you to be creative? That's what it's all about. And the thing is that as people, we require growth. If we are not growing, that's when depression sets in, because this whole mindset, and a lot of people have this, where they will say, oh, once I get to this point in my life, I'll be happy. Or, once I get a promotion, I'll be happy. Once my band breaks out, I'll be happy. Once I'm in a relationship, I'll be happy. Once I have kids, I'll be happy. That doesn't exist, man, because the thing is that the reason that concept is flawed is because the person where you're saying, oh, I'll be happy once this happens, that version of yourself is not you. That's the future version of yourself. That's the leveled up version of yourself, which requires a higher level of attainment. You don't ever see anyone go to the gym and say, oh, I'll be happy once I can bench 100 kilos. Because by the time they put in the effort and, that year or two has passed and they can bench 100 kilos, they are not the same person that you are. They can bench 100 kilos. And I doubt very highly that once you're at that stage, you're going to go to the gym and be like, oh, I'm happy with this. I'm just going to continue benching 100, because you're going to require that higher level of attainment. You're used to it. You're used to growing. And I think that probably one of the most important conversations I ever had was with someone very close to me, where I was going through a period where I had an extremely successful run of events in a very short period of time. I had achieved a lot within a year and a half, which I never expected to do. And I'd hit a point where I had everything that I wanted. I was at that, the Brendan a year prior was like, oh, I'll be happy when I get this. And I was there. And for some reason, all of a sudden I was waking up and I was just miserable. I was waking up and I'm like, oh, we're back. Like, same routine, making the same money, doing the same thing. It was a good life. Don't get me wrong. I was enjoying myself, but after a few months of being at this level where I wasn't attaining anymore, I was not sure what was going on with me and why I just never had any energy to do anything. I was creatively drained. I was just emotionally drained all the time. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And someone very close to me who's quite a few years older than me and very successful, I called him up and basically just asked him, what would you suggest that I do? Like, what would you recommend for me to do, being at my age and trying to get to a higher level of attainment and success in my life? And he basically said to me, where do you want to be in 5 years? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I said, okay, well, I see myself, I want to have a large property and a family and kids and animals and do this and earn this much money doing this career and yada 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 yada. Gave him the big picture, and he goes, okay, well, why is that going to take you 5 years instead of 5 months? And first off I said, oh well, you know, I've got this job at this time and because of these certain financial situations, and you know, and I basically just gave him a bunch of excuses as to why I had become complacent in my certain circumstances. And he said, okay, well, what risks are you taking? Like, what are you actively doing every day to achieve that vision? And I thought about it and I was like, nothing. I'm getting up, I'm doing the same routine, I'm walking my dog, I'm going to work, I'm going to the gym, and nothing's happening. And he goes, okay, well, that's what you need to do. You need to actively be working and taking risks to get to where you want to get to. And very soon after, within the next couple of months, I quit my job because I wasn't enjoying it despite the income I was making. I completely made an enormous shift to get to where I actually wanted to be, even though I'd be taking a few steps back in order to get further. And it was honestly the best decision I'd ever made. I'm healthier in every single way now than I was back then. Even having less time on my hands to do what I want to do, I have so much more energy because I'm growing and I'm passionate about what's going on. And that's what's important. Like, we always have to be attaining that next level of growth. And if you feel like you're not sure where you're at, or if things are a bit chaotic and you're just entangled in a bunch of just really frustrating circumstances to do with your finances and where you're living and your friend group and your relationships and, you know, you're like your financial situation and all this kind of stuff, I can guarantee you the best thing that you can ever do to sort your life out is just take like a year off. Just take a single year. And I know that can sound quite daunting because it's difficult to take, you know, a minute off from your phone. And, you know, we're in a very, very quick attention span kind of society now. But if you genuinely take just a year off to really sort yourself out, it can do extreme wonders for you. And I'm talking about like taking a year off from relationships, even becoming a bit of a hermit and taking a year off from socializing all the time. And I think the best analogy I can give you here is that however old you are, you're living in, or you've created, like, view your life as a house, I guess. And that house has been built on a very rough foundation when you're very young and didn't know what you're doing, with the input of people who also don't know how to build houses. But if you were to take a year off and really assess what you want to do, you can really take the time to bulldoze what you have, keep the parts of it that you're fond of and that you're proud of and that you think are healthy and powerful traits to have, and build and start from scratch. And start from scratch after studying and meditating on and journaling how you want this building to be structured. And when you start doing this, you'll feel incredible amounts of fulfillment, because depression only sets in when you're not growing. If you're actively chasing attainment and success, that growth is what gives you that fulfillment. And it's growth in all areas as well. It's not just like trying to make more money. It's growing physically, trying to become stronger and healthier. It's growing spiritually, trying to understand more about the universe which we inhabit. It's about becoming more creatively expressive. It's about becoming more loving and becoming a better partner or a parent to your kids. You need to be growing in all areas. And when you're not, that's when depression sets in. Depression, in a nutshell, is your soul telling you to step things up because you're not pushing hard enough. It's because you've become complacent and you're not developing anymore. You're not experiencing life the way that you intended to experience life. So that's kind of what I have for you. If you need to take a year off. It's the best thing you can ever do, like in all honesty, and really figure out who you want to become. And it's never too late to do this. Like I see people hitting their 30s or something like that, and they're like, no, it's too late for me. It's like, that's bullshit, man. Like, you haven't even started your life at 30. You've still got another 70, up to 70 odd years that you're going to exist. You haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg in terms of that. And why would you want to live an existence of extreme mediocrity and, you know, and insecurity and boredom and depression and complacency when you could just take a fraction of the rest of your life to figure out what you want to do and then live the most fulfilling and exciting life that you could possibly have? And it will happen as well. Like, if you genuinely know what you're trying to do and you genuinely try and figure it out and you genuinely chase that kind of shit and surround yourself by other people who are trying to gain that attainment as well and inspire you to do so, and you're inspiring them to do so, it's just this feedback loop of just power and excitement. And I guarantee it will work. There are so many people who have done this. I'm speaking from a place of personal success in this area, and as I said, I'm always going to be creating content to encourage people around me. You can always join my group, The Way Toward Health Awakening Your Soul. I'll put the link in the description of this video. There's heaps of people in there who are genuinely but actually achieving a better life and the success and fulfillment and happiness and all these wonderful things. So I'm going to leave you here. Take it easy, and yeah, peace.